So what is that about? I would cry, and you poor thing, you would cry too. It impacts, for one, my YouTube, and so I kind of want to manage expectations. My point is, having CFS is not great. Yeah, just so that's not lost. I feel like other people share a lot more about their projects. Here we are going to get a little bit more vulnerable and in the fields. I don't think that I'm a good enough writer. I don't feel like I owe it to the book or to me as a writer to keep going. Like, that's not the reason. Hi. This is a little bit different. Also, yes, I am wearing 2 turtlenecks. We are doing a sit-down video with very little editing today because I'm dealing with my chronic illness more again. I never really thought I would have to go into that anymore. Like, I've mentioned it here and there, I think 2 times. But yeah, the whole time that I had my channel, like, I basically felt like I'm cured. Like, I don't have to think about this anymore, with caveats. I wasn't exactly living life as a normal, healthy person would, but I felt like a normal, healthy person. So, yeah, I have admittedly been doing a little bit much for my standards lately, but I honestly just had a really bad day, like a day that was super hard on my body. In every sense. It was physically a lot, sensory overload, a lot of stress, also a lot of emotional distress. It was just a lot. And so here we are now. I am already, like, slowly getting better. Like, the fact that I can come on here and talk to you like this is a good sign already. Anyway, I want to talk about 2 things. When I just wanted to, like, give a sense how things are now, because the last video that I made, I was very much like, oh, I'm so locked into writing and it was going so well and I was feeling so productive, and now I'm having to slow down again, not because I'm not feeling like the writing, but physically. But at the same time, there was a point, and I will talk about that later, where, like, the fact that I wasn't feeling good brought up a question, let's say, about, like, how do I really feel about my writing? And essentially there's a lot of self-doubt. And so I wanted to talk about that too. So yeah, I've said it before, I have chronic fatigue syndrome. It's like an invisible, very rare, not widely understood, not even in the medical community, chronic illness. I don't particularly right now want to go into, like, what it feels like when you have a flare-up, and, like, how having CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, how that, like, hinders you in your life in pretty much every facet, especially in the career, professional area. Because I will cry. I will cry, and you poor thing, you would cry too. Like, you would cry so much. And I don't want that for you. So that's not what we're doing today. Like, why do I feel the need to explain my medical issues on the internet? I want to talk about it because it impacts, for one, my YouTube, and so I kind of want to manage expectations. It also impacts my writing, and yeah, I don't know. I also feel like, or I know that I'm not the only person who has some sort of chronic illness and is a writer or a creator. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to talk about it, but without really talking about it. um, so, yeah, let me just, first of all, give you like a shortcut to understanding what I'm talking about, simply by saying that chronic fatigue syndrome is very, very similar to post-COVID syndrome. In like so much so that we're honestly being mentioned in the same breath all the time now. That COVID happened, and CFS has been around a long time. I don't know when the first person was ever diagnosed, but like I've had it for about 15 years, so it's not a new phenomenon, but in the way that you're supposed to mitigate your symptoms every day. And yeah, I am still in a tender spot, even though right now I'm like smiling and everything, but if I go into that emotional minefield of my experience with it right now, as I am in a flare-up, I don't remember where that sentence began. I don't want to do that right now. So, let me just tell you 5 things that are like kind of upsides to having CFS. My one superpower, I would say, is being able to see the silver lining to things, to like see things from a different perspective, and see the positive. And so knowing that, the fact that this is a list of only 5 items is actually really damning, because my point is having CFS is not great. Yeah, just so that's not lost. Okay, now we will get to how all of that is connected to writing later. But I think you can already, you'll already be able to tell why this is kind of forcing me to slow down a little bit. So one thing is that I'm aware of something that most people are not, which is that literally everything, and like my own mind was blown about that too. Literally everything that your body does, everything that even your mind does, is a process, like a biological process, and therefore uses up energy. That includes things like reading a few pages in the book, listening to music, processing words, saying words, holding a conversation, even watching YouTube. And you know how I know that? Because not always, when I'm like feeling mostly good, I don't notice them either. I just have to be aware that those are factors that can be hard on my body. But during a flare-up, I am aware of those things because either I will not have the energy to do them, or also walking at a normal pace. Yeah, it's also fun. Either I will not have the energy to do them, or I will feel like my symptoms, specific symptoms, like increase in response to me doing that. So yeah, but you didn't know that. 2 is, and for that you should also know that I have ADHD, and so my normal mode of being is being very excited, being like, I want all the sensory stimulation all the time, But during a flare-up, I am able to just lie in bed, sit on a balcony, do nothing, and not even feel the need really to fill the silence with anything either, which I always have music or YouTube or something or an audiobook on, simply because I don't have the energy to even feel bored or restless. 3 is that I empathize in a different way, I think, with older people and other people with other illnesses that force them to go like very, very slow. You know, walk slowly down the street, being very slow at the grocery shop. Not that I don't ever get impatient, but like, I know what it feels like when you have to just go slow. It does make me not want to get old like that, though. 4 is I appreciate so much when I feel good and when I'm able to do the things that I want to do. Like, those past 3 months, honestly, the whole time that I've had my channel, I have felt the best, the most energetic, the most resilient physically that I have in a long time. And I think it's made me like quite a happy person, because it's just so nice when you don't have to be so careful all the time. Now, admittedly, I should have been a little bit more careful. Number 5 is, and this might make me sound really cocky, but I would say that my taste palette is kind of evolved. Like, since there are a million things that I don't eat, I pretty much have to cook from scratch everything, from breakfast to lunch to dinner, sometimes even snacks, which is a lot of work, but that's not a positive. Like, I like bitter better than super sweet now. I don't know if that's really something to brag about, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, so obviously all of that impacts my YouTube, specifically in general, for a while, and I don't know for how long. You will probably see a little bit less of me, and it will probably also mostly be like kind of chatty, unedited videos like this one, or anything else that I can do without a lot of effort into editing. If you have a topic that you would like me to chat about, like, I might do that. As promised, I wanted to talk about writing, and here we are going to get a little bit more vulnerable and in the fields. So when I was wondering, like, how much can I do? What can I do now? Pretty much my first reaction was like, oh, I can't write. I can't write now and who knows for how long, right? And kind of that makes me think. My idea was that I would do other writing related things that I had already planned to do at some point. Things like setting up a mood board for like figuring out, getting a better grasp on my characters, creating a sort of visual representation of my magic system, because I constantly forget what the rules were. Like, I wanted to do all of those things, and my idea specifically, given that I wasn't feeling great, or I'm not feeling great, was that I would do it more so with like paper and scissors and glue rather than on a screen. because, and like I still agree with that reasoning, because doing something arty, crafty in that way would be like, that's a kind of relaxing kind of creativity that feels less taxing on my brain. And I still love the idea of those, and I still want to do them. But also I wonder why I was so ready to just give up writing for an indeterminate time frame. Especially since it had been going so well. As I said in my last video, it really was going so well and I was so productive and like I was motivated. So what is that about? Also, as I've pretty much realized in like my first live stream, I'm like close to the midpoint, and so there's still half of my book that needs to be written. At some point I had actually thought that I would, like, I wanted to finish my first draft by the end of May at some point. Now that might have been delusional, but also I do not feel any sort of urgency about that, which is weird. It's one thing that another kind of creativity feels more doable and soothing to my body. It is one thing that not giving up on YouTube, that feels more pressing. It is one thing that I will have to slow down with my writing, but that kind of doesn't erase the fact that I don't feel particularly urgent about getting this book written and published. In fact, part of me doesn't even want to consider that publishing part at all. It doesn't change the fact that I rarely ever like dream of the moment of where I will sit down and write. I rarely ever feel like, oh man, I wish I could be writing right now. It also doesn't change the fact that this channel is not at all so far about getting the word out about my book at all. And like in a way it makes sense because I'm here to like share my process or my process of finding my process and like to be in community with other writers. But also I feel like other people share a lot more about their projects. And even when I was like sharing snippets of my dictation, yes, I would choose snippets where I felt like the words kind of flowed. I didn't particularly want to embarrass myself, but mostly it was to show like what it's like when the words flow. Like it was about the process, not specifically to like tease you about the book, which again is like fine, I don't have to do that, but also at the same time it's kind of weird that like I never felt like really talking about my book. I have kind of dredged up the self-doubts that I have about like how I actually feel about writing and about my writing and about my book and about me as a writer. Like, this is how I feel. These are the thoughts. And so there is like kind of raw, and there's definitely toxic productivity in there and like probably not great self-talk or something. So but I also don't want to censor myself with that, and I also don't want to like talk myself out of feeling those things. But yeah, so here are the things. And this feels a little vulnerable, I guess. First of all, I don't, and this is part of why I don't really share about my project on the channel, is that I don't actually see the project as being an actual book eventually. Like, obviously it's not now, but objectively, like, the idea is that I will make it a book, but I don't see it this way, though. And then the other thing is that I don't think that I'm a good enough writer, that, like, the idea that a reader would read my book is scary to me, because I don't think that I'm good enough that a reader would actually enjoy it. Now the other thing is that writing, like, the way that I feel about writing as an act or activity, like, it's not a chore. It doesn't feel necessarily like a chore, like something I have to get over with, but it does feel like a duty, rather than a hobby or like a joyful thing to do. The words that I write, the scenes that I write, I don't yet enjoy them. Like, a big part is that it's just so far away from what I actually want the story to be about, what I want the story to say. It's also annoying that I always lose grasp on all sorts of elements of my story. I guess it just makes me feel like I'm not that great at writing if I can't even remember or like feel what my characters would do, or like what their personalities is. But then also, yeah, sometimes I do enjoy a scene, like, especially like now I'm starting to feel my symptoms, so I will try maybe not to go too long. Yeah, sometimes I do enjoy the scenes that I write. But even then, I'm like, I don't really linger in that feeling. I'm more so like tell myself to just move on, and it more so counts as a job well done more than like an enjoyable thing that I did or am doing. And then, like, I just recently watched a video by Taylor, I'll put a link, about imposter syndrome. I feel imposter syndrome about being a writer. Obviously, I haven't done it as long as other people. That's one thing, but I often don't feel, as I said before, I don't often feel that I can really wholeheartedly say that I love writing, that it's like in my blood, that something magical happens when I write. I don't know. I'm not there yet, or maybe it's also okay that I have a different relationship to it. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't see myself as a writer in the same sense that I see a lot of other people. And then, yeah, I don't really dare to imagine, dream, strive for a career as a writer. It just feels so daring, I think, to like dream of something like that, seeing as I don't really see myself as a writer or a good enough writer. I don't know. So coming back to the fact that I felt so fine saying that I would just stop writing for a time. I don't feel like I owe it to the book or to me as a writer to keep going. Like, that's not the reason. And so that's why that answer came to me. Like, yeah, I'll just stop writing for a time. And like, granted, I did want to like keep connected to the story, but again, did I want to do that because I wanted to keep up the appearances? And now, like, as I'm starting to get a little exhausted and feeling my symptoms, here are a few things that I thought I could do to help me like make some sort of switch in my brain so I don't feel this particular way about my book and about writing and about myself, I guess. So one thing is, so like the way that I envisioned that I would do mood boards and stuff was more for like problem solving. I thought maybe I should do like other people do as well, like a sort of mood board for the project itself, like maybe even like a mock-up of the cover or something that would help me visualize the idea that this is going to be a book and like what I want the book to feel like. Also, sharing about my project more, I feel like. And this feels kind of scary, more scary than doing the other thing, because that I could theoretically just do by myself or whatever. Or like share my process of making a mood board, but only in the sense of like, here's the thing that you could do for your book. I have all of these aspirations for my book, in terms of what kind of a story it is, what kind of a read, and so it feels risky to say those things out loud. And like, I've dabbled in this a little bit. If I tell you what I want it to be, then not only would you notice if it's not a good book, but you would notice that it's not what I set out to write. I don't know. Like, I would just fall short even harder if I build any kind of expectation, or even worse, anticipation. That feels scary to me. I already thought that I would do that, but more in the sense that I wanted to dare myself to be braver. But now I think, maybe it would actually feel good and help me be excited about my project if I saw other people be excited about the idea of the book too. The last thing that I thought could help, and like, I've entertained this idea other times too, but I've never done it really, is like doing fun writing exercises just for the fun of it. I do not do that. When I write, it's something that I do towards this project. Like, this is all the writing that I do. I think that like this is like a lot of like toxic productivity, where I feel like it's a waste to do something just like doodle, just dabble. Like, I feel like that about a lot of things too. Sorry if you can hear the children next door. Like reading, for example, I also don't exactly do it simply because I enjoy reading, but like because I have all of these books that I want to get to, or because I know that writing will make me a better writer. Like, all of that is not to say that I don't enjoy reading. I do. But I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, Yeah, I don't do it just because of that. If it was just about the enjoyment, I probably wouldn't do it as much and as consistently. Maybe if I did more writing exercises of that kind, maybe that would teach me that I enjoy writing as an activity. Yeah, anyway, so I thought, like, if I did something that would teach me that I enjoy writing, it would not only like give me a motivation and like this idea that, oh my god, I get to write, and like looking forward to writing and like wanting to write all the time because it's fun. And it would also help me feel like a writer who actually loves writing, because I don't just do it as a duty simply because I've decided that I will write this book. Nothing specifically qualifies me to decide that, to make that decision, you know. So I don't feel, you know, a lot of people say like you're a writer when you write or because you write or whatever. But I guess it doesn't feel enough to me. I guess it's like, to me, it feels like you're a writer when you love writing. And maybe I'm not there yet. Or maybe I don't acknowledge it. Yeah, I do not know. So I hope to take you on the journey of these things that I want to do. Some of them I might do even now as I'm not feeling super duper great. Maybe later I might want to make proper videos out of them, and so you might only see that like sometime from now. I don't know. Just to say, like, I don't feel like I haven't done any of those things yet, and I don't feel differently about writing this moment. So like, I do not have solved anything. I don't have a solution for anything. I just wanted to talk about this. And like, if you felt any of those things that I've said, I don't know. I don't really know how to do this video. Maybe we can support each other. Yeah, I'm now going to have to lie down because I'm feeling it. Thank you for listening. And see you later. And I wish you very much great health and great writing.